Hey! How's it going? I'm Adam Russell, the pompous windbag, and welcome to ICU.com. Today I saw a lady sneeze with her eyes open on the bus. You know, and you don't see that too often. Somebody sneeze with their eyes open, and especially with this R1N1, a flu that's been boosted to phase 6, the World Health Organization. It's not too much to do to get too freaked out over this, because panic in itself will hurt you. However, actually, you know what? I'll do a video on that. And this woman sneezed, and everybody around her is everyone's getting a little too paranoid. But you never know. There's no such thing as being too careful. I got to bring my tone down. I got to change gears here because today's discussion is a serious one: depression. Especially in older people, there are plenty of often contradictory myths and misconceptions that are going around. As with other illnesses that affect the mind, the biggest problem may be that it's invisible. If someone has a physical condition such as heart disease, cancer, or multiple sclerosis, the need for medical help is obvious. But when someone is bleeding emotionally, we cannot see it. Mental health problems can be life-threatening, and this is why they should be a higher priority in our healthcare system. In the meantime, education is the antidote to ignorance. And here's the truth about some of the biggest myths that are going around regarding depression. Myth number 1, depression is not a real illness. This is the most dangerous myth of all because it stops depressed people from getting the help they need, setting off a downward spiral, if you will, of guilt, shame, and hopelessness, condemning them to unnecessary suffering. Among the most desperate, it could even cost lives, leading to suicide. So let's set the record straight. This is the straight goods on depression. It's a serious illness that can profoundly change the way people think, feel, and behave. It's not a character flaw, and it cannot be cured by pulling up one's bootstraps. We don't know exactly what causes depression, but there's likely no single culprit. Instead, it seems to be sparked by a combination of factors. One of those factors is physical. Changes in certain brain chemicals can interfere with the way nerve cells communicate, and the brains of depressed people look and function abnormal. I'll say that again. The brains of depressed people, they look and function differently than those of people who are not depressed. Hormones may also play a role, especially with women. Environmental factors, stressful experiences such as retirement, isolation, losing a loved one, money troubles. Like I remember when I was in my 20s, I thought I was allergic to beer. Every time I drank 35 of them, I'd get really sick. And it was just an overindulging situation, Loss of mobility could trigger an emotional tailspin that leads to depression. Likewise, people who've had difficulty in their childhood, or they have endured a traumatic event in the past, are more likely to develop depression. Myth number 2, depression is just the blues. Everyone feels sad or down once in a while, but these blue moods usually last only a few days. Depression, on the other hand, profoundly affects both mind and body and can last weeks, months, or even years if it's not properly treated. Here are the symptoms of depression. Feelings of sadness, a lack of interest in things that you used to enjoy. You used to be a gardener. You used to play cello. You used to go on bike rides and Now you don't feel like doing these things that you enjoyed. You know, feeling hopeless, guilty, or worthlessness. These are symptoms of depression. Visible restlessness. You can't sit still. You're always feeling tired or weak. The inability to concentrate, remember details, or make small decisions. You know, like picking out a head of lettuce at the supermarket is now a huge, humongous problem to you. Not sleeping or sleeping too much. Overeating, gaining weight, not eating enough, and losing weight. These are symptoms of depression. Worrying too much about your health and experiencing aches and pains like headaches and joint aches, abdominal pains, things of this nature. See, there's no blood test or machine to diagnose depression. So it's essential to be open and tell your doctor exactly how you're feeling. Because like depression also usually affects your ability to handle day-to-day activities, like taking care of the basics, hygiene, feeding yourself, dressing yourself, taking your medications, cleaning your home, managing your money, and running errands. These things, you all of a sudden find yourself not interested in doing these things, or they become too much for you to handle. These are depressions, the symptoms of depression. It's not depression, it's just grief. When people have lost a significant other, it's common to interpret their behavior as normal grief when it has crossed over into depression. Normal grief usually begins to get better over time after a few days or weeks. And people, gradually function as they used to, whereas depression, on the other hand, actually gets worse. Normally grieving people still may have emotional meltdowns from time to time, but they're triggered by specific things, like talking about the person they've lost, or anniversaries. In depression, these episodes tend to be more random. Depressed people will blame themselves or feel guilty about the death and may even become suicidal, whereas those who are grieving don't have these kind of thoughts. Exercise is great. Exercise is fantastic. It's one of the best antidepressants that we have. And prayer. Whether you believe in prayer or not, it might be a good idea to give it a shot and explore your spiritual, what you are spiritually. Explore that, because prayer does work. Well, that's all I can say. Depression is real. Make no mistake about it. And good luck if you're suffering any of this. Go to your doctor and talk about it. The Pompous Windbag on ICU.com. It's called Endometriosis, How to Talk to Your Doctor. And there's some tips in there how to speak to your doctor, even if you're not suffering from endo. Anything, any topic that comes up that you'd like to speak to your doctor about. It might be a good idea to take a look at that video as well. Hey, good luck to you. I'm the Pompous Windbag, and this is ICU.com. Peace.